and I thank Suvernada Foundation for inviting me as a speaker here. So, without wasting much time, I would first like to continue with what Dr. Newton said, that dashboards or AI are not here to replace. So, AI is not here to replace the expertise of researchers. So, even dashboards, what we are going to discuss here, are not here to replace the expertise, but they're here to amplify it, right? So we'll take it from there, and then I'll divide this session into two halves. First, we'll discuss why dashboards, what types of dashboards can we have, what are the components of dashboards that we should keep in our mind generally, and then I'll share a prompt with you. We'll also have I also have a data set which I'll share, and I'll share the prompt with you. I don't think so we'll require that data set, but I'll share the prompt with you so that you can also explore this particular dashboard that we are going to make today. So, of course, as I said, that dashboards do not replace expertise. They're here to amplify it. So, a nutritionist or a researcher will still decide what will be the intervention. A clinician still makes the diagnosis. Administrator still will allocate all the resources. The dashboard that we are going to discuss will simply be to see the right information at the right time. Maybe it will enable faster, more informed, more evidence-based decisions. That of course will be the benefit of it. So let's assume that we are talking about a dashboard that have all the general data which a nutritionist will, let's say, collect. Let's say the data is gender, BMI, blood sugar, calories, protein intake, water intake, sleep, exercise, maybe blood pressure, maybe the different types of food intake that the person will do. Now, my question is, of course, if you want to immediately answer what age group is most obese, right? Having a data of 1000, let's say, individuals, you won't be able to answer that in one go. Or let's say I want to understand, does sleep affects BMI? I won't be able to answer that right away, right? Of course, I can use Excel, I can use SPSS, I can use analysis tools to answer that. But if I want such answers immediately, definitely dashboards are the way to go. Now, if we study business analytics is generally divided at three levels. First is descriptive analytics, second is predictive analytics, and third level, or let's say a second way, is prescriptive analytics. Now, every uh, if we simplify things, we say that every analytics starts with descriptive analytics. You initially start with understanding using your basic tools of statistic toolpack, basic visualization tools, to understand that are there any anomalies in the data, what is the trend, what are the patterns, do you need some transformation, do you need some basic information, do you need to understand distributions, and so on, right? And dashboards are a perfect way to use descriptive analytics. Now, of course, if you are making a dashboard, it can answer that, okay, what patients, or what immediate attention is required to what patients, right? The problem is that we cannot see large set of data in one go, right? And a dashboard helps like a visual interface that combines data. It can combine charts, it can combine key performance indicators into a single screen, right? Which definitely enables us to monitor performance, identify trends, take informed decisions quickly, and so on, right? Now, if you want to imagine a dashboard, you can imagine dashboard like a car, right? You do not think of how does the engine work, what oil goes into the engine, how is the fuel pump working, and so on. You just know that yes, you are going too fast or too slow. You have to manage the gears, accelerator, and and the clutch, and everything else the car does. So similarly, dashboards are something like that, right? You will be able to answer how healthy is your patient, what patient needs intervention, what trends are emerging, where immediate action is required, and so on. Now, the good thing is that data earlier data collection was a problem, right? But this is the age of data explosion. There are There are tools which through which you can automatically collect data. There are tools which have made it easier to collect the data. So challenge is no longer collecting the data. The challenge is more of how to make sense of it, and this is where the dashboard helps, right? So maybe if you can answer this in chat. Uh, I first want to ask before we go ahead for the hands-on session on cloud. I want to ask you that why human brain works well with dashboards and visualizations more, and not with, let's say, a way longer spreadsheet. So what do you think? What do participants think? Or is it the way, or what we are assuming is wrong, or so on?
It gives you a collective image of what is happening. It like
Perfect, perfect. When we say collective image, maybe a pattern, right? Maybe some colors intrigue us more. Maybe when we see shapes, we are easily able to organize. So let's say we see pie chart, automatically our brain functions that okay, this pie is dedicated to this particular factor. Or let's say once we see trends, or we will be able to see outliers which we cannot see amongst thousands of rows in spreadsheets, large tables, raw numerical data, and so on. So dashboard basically compiles that into one screen. Of course, for your instant understanding, trends become immediately visible. Uh, we can have interactive filters as well. They are dynamic, they're fast at decision making as well. Now, before we go ahead and understanding the general components of a dashboard, I would like to highlight that a dashboard must be simple, because if you're complicating it, again, it won't help you much. Spreadsheets, or let's say a database of 1,000 2,000 patients is already complicated. So you have to think when you're creating a dashboard, when you're giving a prompt, which we will learn in a while, you have to make sure that prompts and the dashboard that you're going to, of course, not the prompts, but the dashboard that you're going to design is simple enough. This is one, right? Second is it has to be interactive in the sense that you need to have certain filters, certain KPIs, so that you can observe what you want. And interactive in the sense also, you should have enough filters so that you can deep down into multiple layers of the data that you are currently having. Of course, it should be visually appealing, because if the dashboard is not visually appealing, you would not like to work upon it. You would not like to, let's say, use it for longer, right? So it has to have right colors, visually appealing. Of course, it has to be accurate. So if you're defining certain KPIs, if you're defining certain things, it has to be accurate, right? It has to be relevant. It cannot have certain KPIs or certain, let's say, data points or certain measurements, certain ratios which make no sense. And it has to be easy to interpret, another factor. One important thing which might not be relevant to our dashboard, because we are creating it through a CSV file, though usually a dashboard might have a front end, back end, and a database attached to it, which becomes a live dashboard, right? Our dashboard will not have that, because we are creating through a database, a secondary database using cloud. But uh, a database has to be a dashboard has to be updated regularly. And last factor is that it has to be action oriented, right? So if certain actions, certain key points are not coming out of it, then also it does not makes much sense, right? Now I'll go a little bit slow, and we'll try to understand that what can be the different components of a dashboard, and we'll understand after we look at the data set what we have. So I'll show you the data set first, and then we'll discuss the components of the dashboard, and then we'll go to cloud. I hope you can see my screen. I hope my screen is visible to the participants.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I'll zoom the data a little bit. So let's say we have a data with different patient IDs. We have a 300 patients data, and we have the variables like age, we have the variables gender, height in centimeter, weight, BMI category, daily calorie intake, daily protein intake, the fat in grams, fiber in grams which the patient is taking, the fruits, water intake, physical activity, sleep hours, blood pressure, blood pressure. Fasting, blood glucose, HbA1c, total cholesterol, HDL, LDL, triglycerides, smoking habits, alcohol, medical conditions, diet type. Nutrition risk is what we have defined, what let's say nutritionist recommends and decides. So we are assuming that a nutritionist has decided that, right? And finally, the recommended action. Now, my question to you is, if you are going to make a dashboard out of this data, right? So because you are going to summarize the data of 300 participants, so generally what do you think your what should be your main KPIs, what should be your key performance indicators as a researcher, as a nutritionist, and so on? So what should you highlight there? Okay, that these are my key performance indicators, I should be analyzing this particular data set using these variables. Any one of you would like to answer? Maybe the answers can be wrong, not a problem, but still, what do you think? Because see, using a tool to create dashboard is one thing, right? Once you do not understand what key performance indicators do you want to use in order to design that dashboard, that dashboard will not make any sense. So if the key performance indicators are not relevant, dashboard does not make any sense. I'll give you an example maybe, and then maybe someone else can give another example and maybe answer with another KPI. So maybe average BMI can be one of the performance indicator. Okay, so you are sorting your data with males and females, let's say. I filter my data through males and females, right? And I can see the average BMI of males, average BMI of females. Maybe I want to filter that data with diabetes and non-diabetes, right? And one of my KPI can be average BMI of people with diabetes, average BMI of people without diabetes, right? So this can be one of the KPI which my dashboard will have, average BMI. Similarly, what KPIs do you think other KPIs which this dashboard may have? Anyone who would like to add or who would like to contribute? Okay, so other KPIs maybe can be diabetes percentage. How many people are having diabetes? How many people are not having diabetes? Maybe average calories which these set of people are consuming. Maybe protein intake. Maybe you might say that okay, this if someone has a high blood pressure, someone has a high fasting sugar, a high HbA1c, he is a high risk patient or a low risk patient, and so on. So maybe risk can be one of the thing. Then this is one, your dashboards will have certain KPI cards, certain important cards, right? And I'll show you a few maybe. So let's say these are my KPI cards, right? So average activity, I've not mentioned, average fiber, average HbA1c. Of course, we'll learn how to prompt and make this dashboard. Average BMI, high risk patients, how many high risk patients are there, and so on. So patients in view, even total number of patients that I'm seeing in this filter can be one of the KPI. So let's say 18 to 30, I have 60 patients. So this is one of the KPI, that how many patients are in my view, right? So patients in view, risk, average BMI, and of course there can be other KPIs. But of one of the component of the dashboards will be certain KPIs that you will be having. Second is charts, because of course I just before this Shravani just answered that patterns are easy to observe for humans, right? And not we will not be. So this is a complicated data set. If I want to make sense out of this data set, which is of 300 individuals, very difficult to do that, right? So easier thing would be to make charts, have look, have summaries in charts. How many males, how many females, how many people over height this, how many people over below height this, right? Let's say daily calorie intake. Males are having how much calorie intake, females are having how much calorie intake, and you could observe that using bar charts, maybe using line charts, maybe using scatter plots, maybe heat maps, tree maps, bubble charts, box plots, radar charts, and so on. So there are many other chart types which of course you can use to whichever suits fine you can use to make these dashboards as well, right? Then the next section of a dashboard, so it will be KPIs, it will be charts that you would want to observe, certain relationships which you would want to observe. Third can be tables. So maybe you want to have the entire dashboard, but below that you want to have all the patient detail in table, and you want to observe each and every patient. You can also do that, right? Another thing can be alerts. You can add alerts. Okay, alert me if the patient, let's say you're observing only high risk patient, and you want certain alerts that alert if any patient has HbA1c over this, any patient have weight over this, and so on. So it can appear poor nutrition, abnormal lab values, can be certain alerts that you can also add in this in at any particular dashboard. And of course, the last section is filters. You will, of course, have you would want to observe the data in different filters. Age group can be one of the filter. Different types of diseases can be one of the filter. Gender can be one of the filter, right? Risk levels can be one of the filter. Lower risk, higher risk, or medium risk patients. So you can also filter this huge data set of 300, 400, 500 participants into multiple filters as well, right? Now also understand that dashboards dashboards might be there with different kind of objectives that a person might have, right? It can be an operational dashboard which just talks about the real time data. It can be a strategic dashboard, right, which focuses on long time performance, right? It can be a analytical dashboard, which we will see, which we will be using. It can also be a tactical dashboard, right, which many people are using at once, right? So it can be a different kind of dashboards as well. But understand that dashboards will definitely allow users to filter. Last thing which I would discuss before we go to cloud, dashboards will definitely decide people how they can filter the data, how they can zoom and go till a few in patients and their parameters, right? It helps you to drill down, it helps you to compare, it helps you to search, right? And of course it is designed for the audience who need executive summaries, right? It might be a nutritionist might need a patient level insight, researcher might need to use it as a descriptive analytics tools, as I told you, to do detailed analytics later, right? And patients at their level might need simple insights, right? So these dashboards can be created with different mindset for different audiences. This is one thing more as well, right? Now I'll open Claude and we'll go to Claude. So if you will see one of course I'll share the prompt in the chat box if you would like to run this prompt and create your own dashboard. But again, with cloud, because it's a very powerful tool, there is one problem. I'll try to open new chat, right? So there are different ways which you can use. There are different models of cloud which you can use cloud with, right? So for example, haiku and sonnet are haiku is for fastest and for quick answers, sonnet is for most efficient tasks, Opus is for complex tasks, and Fable 5 is there for the toughest challenges, right? And recently Fable 5 was not available, so only Opus was available. Recently only Fable 5 has been introduced again, right? But the problem is that Fable 5 and Opus are there in pro versions, and Sonnet and Haiku are there in the free version. So with Sonnet and Haiku, though they can make dashboards, but it is definitely Haiku cannot, Sonnet can. So it is going to take time. So once you enter the prompt, it is definitely going to take time, right? So if you believe that you regularly would like to make dashboards, it will be definitely beneficial if you would take a pro version and then use Opus or Fable for that, right? Again, it's the way, it's the amount of search which you can do, which is more in pro version as compared to Fable and Opus. So though with Sonnet also you would be able to create it, but not such a detailed, such an insightful dashboard, right? So then we will go to our chat, right? And I think this is the prompt which we will discuss, right? And this is the dashboard that we have created. So first we'll see. Okay, so this is the entire dashboard. Again, we have everything what we have created is only through an English prompt, right? So if you know how to write, right, everything has been created out of the data through a prompt, only through a prompt. So we have prompted that, okay, we want to see the total number of patients here, right? So if let's say I do only I want to see patients with 18 to 30 years of age, it's 60 patients. Coming from where? Coming from our Excel sheet. And we have given the prompt that it should have 60 out of 300. It should show the number of patients that we are seeing here, right? Again, the same data set, the same KPI we can also see here. We could have replaced this if we were having 60 here. We could have anything else as well. But it is the prompt that we have given that, okay, you show the heading here and show the total number of patients on the top panel, right? So as I told you, another component of dashboards is filtering, right? So we have created filters. We could have created more as well, right? So we have created filters with conditions. It was already there in our data that what is the medical condition of the patient, how many healthy patients are there. So once we'll select healthy, it will sort everything with healthy 41, right? And again, we have created this with uh, prompt only, right? So the feature which helps you create dashboards in cloud is artifacts, right? And artifacts has a lot of other features as well along with dashboards. You can create simple websites, right? You can create simple tools like you do in
So
Google
we
Apps
go
Script,
to
but Google Apps Script you have
submit
to
the
code.
paper and start measures.
Is there anyone who wants to ask anything? Okay, so in Google Apps Script, you have to code, but in cloud, you do not have to do that. You can write a prompt, it will create a artifact for you, right? So the feature that we have used is an artifact, right? Which is there in Cloud. Again, we have instructed Cloud that okay, you show a filter of nutritional risk, low, moderate, high, and so on, right? We have instructed Cloud that filter can be gender. We have instructed Cloud filter can be age group. We have instructed Cloud that filter can be diet type as well, right? Again, as I told you, it does not replaces expertise. So filters can be according to you. You would have taken much more different filters as well, right? Then, as I told you, then the next is KPIs. We have decided that okay, KPIs would be average activity, average fiber, average HbA1c, average BMI, high risk, patients in view, and so on. And as I told you, another things are chart. So we are saying chart. First is risk. Again, risk by chart. Now it is dynamic. If you change the age, so we can see with all age groups, we have high risk and low risk patient and very few high risk and low and moderate risk patient. But if we go to 61, 61 also high are 12 and moderate and low are less. So let's say 46 to 60. 46 to 60, we have 9 high risk patients. 18 to 30, we have low, right? Again, we can see that in 31 to 45 band, we have many high risk patients, right? So again, these charts help you to understand something from a complex data. Again, we have BMI category. There is no one underweight, in 31 to 45 category. Similarly, we have charts for medical condition. We have a different kind of a chart for
Yeah.
x-axis and a y-axis, and uh, uh, different, let's say, HbA1c and BMI numbers that we would want to see, right? And we can observe that in this one with lower BMI, generally people have lower HB1AC as well, and for higher BMI patients, the HbA1c levels are mostly higher in most of the patients. Again, we could see that through charts. So there are different charts which you can add in between. And as I told you, we can also add tables. So we have added tables. Again, this has come through a simple prompt, which I will show you in a while. And then again, we'll come back to the dashboard, right? So the last thing which I would want to show is that in this table, Dr. Jayalakshmi, can you put yourself on mute? Yes, thank you so much. Okay, so we also have the patient register. Again, we have only given the prompt that we want to see all these things there. As I told you, we can also have alerts. So let's say I am seeing diet type as high protein, category as 46 to 60, and I have only four patients here. And then I want to see something of patient ID 204, right? So we have added these screen flags again by giving a prompt that this person has an elevated blood pressure, this person has a high HbA1c, this person had a higher fasting glucose level, high triglycerides level, fiber intake was low, activity is below 30 minutes, short sleep, the person has a short sleep of 6.3 hour per night, right? And we have decided, of course, these screening levels based on the alerts, right? So similarly, we have less alerts for this person, more alerts for the other person, right? So we can add all these components and even more components in a dashboard to analyze a complex data set, right? But again, through simple prompts. So I will open the file in which we have uh, added and written the dashboard prompts, right? So simply, the prompt which we added was, I'm a nutritionist. I have attached a CSV data set of patient records. Then what each row says, right? Simply like that, right? Again, if even if you do not type this, that build an HTML dashboard works. Usually, a dashboard, a live dashboard, will have a front end which is HTML, a back end which might be a server, like a PHP, etc., like server support, right? And a live database. So you can run your database on SQL. But because this session is only of 1 hour, we'll not go much into detail. Even if you do not include this, you can create at least simple HTML dashboards using Cloud, and you can keep on adding your data there manually. And so let's say update the CSV file, the dashboards will get updated. But if you want to create live dashboards, that is also possible, right? If you attach that through an SQL, MySQL, right, a Python, so that sorry, SQL, Oracle, etc. So again, dashboards will be live as well, right? And then finally we added, so as I if you remember, as I we saw that header, you add this. So our header has uh, this nutritional clinic patient panel, right? Then we said that we want to see a subtitle and a live counter showing X out of 300 patients shown as the filter change, right? Simple English, and we have 4 out of 300 patients shown, right? Similarly, we also had a sticky filter bar in which I decided what filters I want to see. So I said that I want to see a text search box for patient ID. We have a text search box for patient ID. I said we want to see three toggle chips for low, moderate, and high that can be combined. I have three toggle chips for low, moderate, and high, right? Similarly, I said we want to see drop down for medical condition. We have drop down for medical condition. Then diet type, again drop down, gender drop down, age band drop down. I could also change that, and the the filter gets changed. If I want to see 50 to 60 as a separate category, I can also do that, right? Then populated automatically from the data, and a reset filters link as well. So simple English, and I got this particular a dashboard as this particular filter bar as, right? So if I reset, now all the data gets reset as well.